I got interested in health communication really at a young age where I thought I wanted to be more engaged with medicine, but it became clear to me that being healthy was not just what you did with a doctor or not what you did by being a doctor. So I happened to study rhetoric and political activities while I was in college, but then I went to medical school, and after having a medical degree, as a goal, I realized I needed to have other parts to it to make a difference. So I went to the Kennedy School of Government to bring government in and got quite interested also about communication. And communication was another degree that I got to bring it all together with the idea that if how we communicated health could make a big difference for people's lives, and really was what health was all about. As a physician, it meant more to teach than to treat. As a physician who was interested in more of teaching and learning, not just impairing knowledge, it became clear that health literacy is really the basic currency that's necessary for people to make good health decisions. A health decision is going to be different for some people, whether they're young or old or where they live in the parts of the world, that might not just be a medical decision. So it's literacy to understand what they need to know about their health, how they can obtain better information, and how they can make appropriate health decisions. It's sometimes the only way that people get health information. I mean, think about it. When you were in school, when did you learn about health? If you're studying basic activities, many times it's only at a fifth grade level. Then you start to specialize. And sometimes that fifth grade level is health and hygiene of hand washing, brushing your teeth, knowing that microbes cause disease and insects are vectors for certain diseases, and learning the other parts about health, what contributes to hypertension, how do I prevent cardiovascular disease, only happens through information you get from the media or through that very short visit that you might have with a doctor. So the media is a more important role of how we stay healthy, how we detect disease early, how we prevent certain diseases with health interventions, namely vaccinations, and how we avoid certain behaviors that are known to, cause harm, such as tobacco use. New technologies shouldn't just be one way. It's not just the scientists or the doctors telling people what they should do. Do you just get information from a doctor, or do you want to talk to other people that have high blood pressure? So I think the connectivity is not going to be top down or, shall we say, the white coat ethos of a doctor to a patient. It'll be more of how people communicate amongst others. So it took some time to establish the journal, get articles, and had some great people write articles. So Eb Rogers, who's known for diffusion of innovations, the late Eb Rogers now, wrote about how the field of health communication is a new field and we have to really look at how this discipline will evolve. At that point, we thought it was ethics, interpersonal communication, doctors and patients, how we get better, more accurate information from the media, and how technologies would play a role. But we didn't anticipate, technologies playing such a large role. But what we started to see is it evolved from learning from anti-tobacco work, from work in HIV/AIDS, from work in other areas, that we could take what we learned from those fields and take that communication prowess and apply it somewhere else. So I believe the field has evolved with the journal. You see more global health communication, more of communication activities that we learned, whether it be in Spain, in Europe, in the United States, and translating that into different parts of the world. There are big challenges in health communication in every field right now where everybody thinks they know how to communicate, right? Well, we know how to talk, so I don't need to study communication. Communication is a discipline, right? You can do harm with communication. And health communication doesn't just mean people that design websites or know how to post blogs or have technological prowess of games or what have you, can be the health communicators by learning a little bit of health. So I believe they really need to come together. You need to understand science, you need to understand how you communicate risk, you need to understand the intended and unintended consequences with ethical backdrop of each of these, and you need to understand how communication can make a difference at what stage in people's lives. My fear is that we'll just have more people thinking they have access to a phone or a computer so they can communicate. I'm interested in how climate change, yes, it affects our health and well-being. There's other parts of climate change, right, that affect economics and demographics and where people live and how they live and so forth, that also could affect health. So urbanization is a a positive and a negative that we have to look out for. In one, contributing to climate change, but two, potentially in a positive way of less mass transit via cars and emissions that are, I think they're coming more together, but to understand it, it's another specialization. But it's up to each of us to have ethical ideals, have a goal in mind, and do something that makes for a better world, which includes the environment, which includes the individual, the communities in which we live, and the people in which we serve.